Am I the a-hole for telling my brother and his wife that I will be suing them for selling the nursery I gave them? Am I the a-hole for canceling significant other birthday plans after finding out I was not invited? Am I the a-hole after no longer allowing my mother-in-law's friend to babysit my children after she started calling them her babies? Am I the a-hole for telling my brother and his wife that I will be suing them for selling the nursery I gave them? I, 36 female, lost my 3-year-old son from a chronic condition that he was born with. I struggled a lot with his illness and received a lot of support from my family when my ex-husband was too busy with work than care for his son. When my brother and his wife found out they were expecting, they suffered from a miscarriage after a miscarriage, and because of their financial situation, I decided to lend my son's nursery to use for their baby, under the condition they give it back when they no longer need it. It's an expensive nursery, and the process of shipping, I live in another country, took me time and money, and of course, not to mention its sentimental value. They were so grateful for my help and appreciated it a lot, but my sister-in-law unfortunately lost her baby at 5 months in the pregnancy, and I heard from my mother since my brother and sister-in-law went low contact with everyone to be able to grieve. I waited few months before asking for the nursery back, since they no longer need it. I called and asked my brother to send it back despite how cruel I sounded, but I just had to get it back because I was shocked after my brother said they sold it. All of it. Every single piece. I asked why, and he said his wife was depressed and he needed money to take her on a vacation a month ago. I lost my temper and started screaming at him on the phone, reminding him that this belonged to my son and only for them to borrow, not to sell. He apologized and asked me to be understanding of his wife's position as a grieving mother myself. I said no, they should have considered how selling my son's nursery would affect me as a grieving mother, and he replied that he didn't think I was being fair to scream at him to help his wife through these hard times. I told him that it's not my problem and that I will be suing them both over the nursery and for every penny he made out of selling it. He called me nuts and hung up, then called my parents. They tried to get involved after I threatened to sue and called me callous and unhinged for threatening my brother and sister-in-law with court, and told me to let it go. I don't need the nursery and it's not worth causing permanent damage in my relationship with my brother over a few pieces of furniture. My ex-husband blamed me, saying it was my fault for giving the nursery to my brother, but I just wanted to help. He keeps pushing for the idea to sue, but my parents are telling me not to. Am I the a-hole for wanting to sue them for the nursery that cost us nearly over $4,000? Just to explain something, my ex-husband gets a say because he paid for the nursery as well, and he keeps pushing me to sue and told me he'll do it if I choose to back down. He keeps saying it's my fault for letting my brother have the nursery in the first place and is very upset with me about it. Am I the a-hole for canceling significant other birthday plans after finding out I was not invited? Let me start the post off by saying my 21 female, significant other 22 male love language is gift giving. He loved to shop for people. He loves to give gifts, especially extravagant ones. For example, over the 3 years we've been together, he's given me a car, 3 dogs, a new phone, and many more smaller items. I, on the other hand, struggle with gift giving, especially for him. He's the person, if he wants it, he will buy it for himself. 2 different times I had purchased him a gift. Before the holiday rolled around, he had went and purchased the exact same thing for himself. So finding something he both likes and he doesn't already have is a struggle. This year, I decided I would go above and beyond. I set aside a couple of $1,000, a lot for me, not so much for him, to make sure I can get him extravagant gifts. This year, he discussed with me he wanted to go to Puerto Rico. I immediately I found a 4-bedroom house, more than enough room for his friends, him and I. I also booked a yacht for us to spend the day on. That ended up being more than I set aside for, but I booked the yacht anyways since he always goes above and beyond for me, and I wanted him to have a great birthday. Well, tonight, I asked him if I should purchase his gifts here and travel with them, or if I should go shopping in Puerto Rico. He tells me I was not coming. Note, earlier this week he discussed us going to Puerto Rico. Also discussed how his friend, no named, would be traveling with us on this trip. So he immediately sensed my confusion. He quickly started backtracking and told me I would be coming just at the end of the week, missing his birthday. My feelings were hurt at first. To think the person I wanted to spend my birthdays with doesn't want to spend theirs with me hit a little different. My feelings soon changed as I realized this also meant I would miss out on the yacht I went over budget on. Immediately, I went to cancel the yacht, trying to get some form of payment back since it had already been 24 hours since booking. The yacht was a surprise, so it was never mentioned, but after canceling it and getting partial refund, I told him what I had planned. I also told him since I would have to wait 5 days after his birthday to even see him, his gifts would not be as extravagant, and I would not have things like a cake decorations or anything set up for him. He told me I was the a-hole. The yacht was for him and not me, so regardless if I attended, I should have left the reservation in place. He also tells me his gifts should not change since he will see me after his birthday. I disagree. I can't imagine spending $1,000 of dollars on gifts for someone just to give it to them a week after their birthday. I also cannot imagine spending over $1,000 on a yacht that I will never see. Am I the a-hole for canceling my plans for significant other birthday after finding out I am not invited? Am I the a-hole after no longer allowing my mother-in-law's friend to babysit my children after she started calling them her babies? I, 26 female, am the mother of 2 kids, 4 female and 3 male. My husband, 27 male, and I both work office jobs. Due to this, we need someone to watch the kids while we aren't home. We mostly had babysitters, but a few months back, my mother-in-law, 48 female, suggested that her friend could watch them for free. I told her it wasn't necessary since we could afford a babysitter just fine, but she insisted. I didn't really see any harm in it after she kept asking, so I gave in, and her friend, 45 female, started babysitting our kids. Everything was perfect for the first few months. She was always on time and always fed my kids and put them to bed at the time I suggested. My kids seemed to really like her, but about a few weeks ago, my oldest came to me and asked me if I was their real mommy. I was confused and asked her what she meant. Well, turns out, mother-in-law's friend had been telling my kids that they were her babies, and when they protested saying they weren't, she would yell at them, saying that I was just their moneymaker and that she was their real mommy. I told my husband about this, and he hired a babysitter on the spot. Then me and him called mother-in-law and told her about the situation. We told her that we weren't going to have her friend over anymore because it made us uncomfortable. We even told her what my kid had told me. Well, mother-in-law didn't take it well. Over the phone, she started screaming, saying that, quote unquote, my friend doesn't have any kids or grandchildren, so your kids are the closest things she's had to it, and you're going to take that away from her? My husband and I tried to calm her down, but after a bit, we just hung up. I received a photo of mother-in-law friend crying on mother-in-law couch later that night. I feel horrible for making her upset, but I don't like how she was telling my kids these things. I understand that she doesn't have kids, but that doesn't excuse her behavior. But for my peace of mind, am I the a-hole?